Welcome, fight fans. It is your boy Blue back again, and this is the 5th episode of BLÜ-FC. So, as always, we're going to go through what we're going to be doing today. So, first, we're going to go over the results and my thoughts about the last event, Barboza Chikadze. And then we're going to quickly, well, not so quickly, go over the odds and then my picks for this week's, which is UFC Vegas 36, Brunson against Till. So this last event, not scared, well, I mean, a little ashamed to admit this, maybe, took my first L last week. We all took an L here. There was the first episode that we did where I went under 500 for my picks. Yikes. Still only one fight under 500, but still, I don't like getting things wrong. So I feel like that's a big L on my part, but we're going to keep going. And we still got some right. So yeah, anyway, so we're going to go over the prelims, and we only talked about one of them last week, and that was Alessio Di Chirico and Abdulrazak Al Hassan. And I hope everyone took my advice and watched this fight. Sadly, it was the first prelim I have ever picked on this show that I've gotten wrong, which definitely affected my record there. But wow, what a KO. Seriously, one of the wildest head kick KOs I've ever seen. If you didn't see it, look it up after this. Di Chirico and Al Hassan. So my prediction was Di Chirico by a finish. Sadly, it was Al Hassan by a wild KO. But again, crazy KO. You definitely want to see that. It was wow. Then moving on to the main card, the first one was Mahmoud Muradov versus Gerald Meerschaert. Going into this, I really thought this was going to be one-sided. I mean, Muradov, I think, was about a minus 650 favorite going in, and the first round, it really was one-sided. He was getting absolutely slaughtered. But then out of nowhere, after getting absolutely smashed the first round, Meerschaert somehow turned it around and got a sub. Couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it. If you bet that was going to happen, or even that he was going to win, honestly, good for you. You cleaned up. But for the rest of us, not good. That destroyed our parlays. And that was 2 in a row that I thought I was definitely going to get right. Definitely did not. Ruined my record. So moving on to the next one after that, it was the first fight of the night with the tough people. So it was Andre Petroski and Michael Gilmore. I said this one was going to be a little one-sided because Gilmore was a replacement on tough, and Petroski was pretty good. And the fight actually started really close. Then in the third, Petroski just got in a really good spot, and then he just went for the ground and pound and got the finish. So the prediction, and we actually got the result right too, was a finish for Petroski. That was a good one. These tough people, really, I mean, they're actually really good this season. Next up was Kevin Lee against Daniel Rodriguez. I'm not going to lie. This one surprised me quite a bit. I mean, sure, Kevin Lee is in a new weight class, but he's ranked at lightweight, and he's a solid, well-rounded fighter. So I gave him the win, and I said he might even get a finish here. But Rodriguez dominated the whole time on the feet, and probably thanks to the extra reach. But Lee dominated on the ground, but he didn't get there too often, which meant that we got Rodriguez with a 29-28 decision. Close on the cards. I'm not sure it was that close while I was watching it, but that's beside the point. And if you check the rankings, because again, we usually talk about what the fighter should do next. And if you check the rankings, they actually pushed him into the rankings at number 15, Daniel Rodriguez. Very well deserved, because that was a great fight. And before that even happened, I was actually going to say he should probably get a ranked opponent next for sure. I was thinking maybe Jeff Neal would be pretty good, but honestly, anyone between 10 and 14 would be pretty good, I would say. I mean, you don't want to give him maybe somebody in the top 10. I mean, that's a little bit of a jump so far. You kind of want to, dip your toe in the water with somebody between 10 and 14. And as for Lee, honestly, I think he might just have to stick to 155. He just rushes in too much, and you can't do that at 155 because you can't do that. Oh, yeah. He can do that at 155 because they have less power. But when you move up in the weight class to 170, you can't really get away with that anymore. You're just going to get rocked. And that's kind of what happened. He didn't get too messed up here, but you could tell he got hit a few times, and he just wasn't used to getting hit like that because he's used to getting hit by 155s. So either he stops rushing in like that and he takes a more patient kind of route, and maybe competes at the welterweight, because sure, he has power and he's got that ground game, but I mean, he just lost to somebody that wasn't even ranked. He's ranked now, but he wasn't ranked before. So, I mean, you got to think, can he compete at that level? Even if he was more patient, can he compete up there? I'm not sure. Or he goes back down to 155 and probably competes in the top 10 for the rest, well, at least for the next few years anyways, because he is getting slightly older. So yeah, I think that's the better the better route for him, but he is a huge 155. So I'm not actually sure if he can consistently cut down to 155. I don't know, because even at 170, he was looking pretty big. Moving on, the next one was the bantamweight finale for the Ultimate Fighter. That was Ricky Turcios and Brady Hiestand. I thought it was High Stand. It's not. I was corrected. It was Hiestand. I said on paper that this one looked really close, and my God, yes, it was. What a fucking fight. It was back and forth the whole time. Honestly, one of the only fights that I have ever watched, ever, where I really couldn't tell who was winning. I loved every second of it, and seriously, one of the best fights of the year. I don't think it's going to get nominated just because, I don't know. I just don't think that they're going to choose a tough fight. I mean, it basically is a tough fight. I don't think they're going to choose that to be nominated for one of the fights of the year. But honestly, I really think it should be. It really was one of the best fights I've ever seen. So for that one, again, I said it was going to be really close. I predicted a decision for Turcios, and we got there. But it was a split. I didn't think it was going to be that. Well, I mean, who knows with decisions? I mean, we've discussed this every episode basically so far. You never know what's going to happen with a decision. So yeah, we got that one. And also, I got to say, I am now a huge fan of this guy. He had one hell of a speech after winning, and in the press conference after, oh my God, he broke out a karaoke set, did a whole song. What a legend. I love this guy now. Seriously, I'm a fan. Ricky Turcios. What a guy. Can't wait to see more of him, really. And next up after that was the middleweight finale, and that was Brian Battle and Gilbert Urbina. And I was thinking this one was going to be similar to that first tough fight tonight, where especially since Urbina was kind of a replacement because Battle earned his way to the final, but Urbina lost in the semis. But he came in because Gore was injured. So, you know, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't earn his way there because he did win and, you know, get to the semis, but he didn't win like Battle did. So to me, that kind of meant that it was probably going to be like that first fight today, where it's like you're probably going to see a finish by Battle just because it's a little bit more one-sided. And it was pretty close for the most part. And then Battle just turned it around and got an amazing sub. So we saw Battle with the finish. And I will say, I'm a big fan of this guy too now, honestly. He's a super nice guy, and he was great to listen to at the press conference. Can't wait to see more of this guy too. They really do have great people on that show. I mean, I haven't seen the other seasons, and I obviously didn't get to see this whole season either. But I mean, the people that come out of The Ultimate Fighter are always so good. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of those two. Excuse me. And the main event, oh, buddy, Edson Barboza and Giga Chikadze. Everyone knew this was going to be great. And if you're being honest, you probably weren't 100% sure which way this was going to go into. I was definitely leaning Barboza because of his resume, his speed, and his power. I thought he was going to edge him out a bit on both of those. And he kind of did, especially with the power. He didn't with the speed, though. I was a little surprised by that. But I guess, you know, you're kind of seeing maybe that age kind of creep in. And Giga's really good. So, I mean, he's just going to keep getting better. So, shouldn't have been surprised. Well, I wasn't really too surprised by that, but still. And as expected, it was super close the whole time. But Giga was unreal. He caught him with a couple good ones and took advantage of it. It was close, but I mean, you could kind of tell Giga was probably going to start edging away with it, and he did. But it was also, like I said, because he caught him with a couple really good ones and jumped in, swarmed him, and then took advantage of it and got the win. So my prediction for that was Barboza by finish, but we got the Giga finish instead. And I might have gotten the pick wrong, sure. And I do like Barboza, but as a fan of MMA and as a huge fan of Giga, really, because I've seen his last few fights, I really liked him a lot, and he's a super nice guy. He's got the whole charity going on with the cancer and all that. Super nice guy, and I'm super happy for him, and I can't wait to see him again. I really want to see him fight again and get higher up there, you know? And as for what's next for those two, I would give him somebody in the top 5. He's saying he wants to be in the shot for the title. He wants to be a backup for the title. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, well, I wasn't thinking about him getting a title shot, no. But I was thinking, you know, maybe Holloway. I could see that. But, I mean, look, he's great. But there's just no way that he wins that. He's not going to win the title. Volk is just way too good. Because, I mean, if Volk can beat Holloway, he's going to destroy Chikadze. I'm sorry. And it's the same thing for Holloway. Holloway is just too good. And also, not only that, but he's busy with Yair. So I was thinking it would have been okay. It would have been good. I would have loved to see Holloway and Chikadze because, again, they both claim that they're the best strikers or at least the best boxers, whatever. Basically, similar thing, similar argument. And I would love to see that play out. I really would. But I kind of want to see him go in a different direction. And also, like we said, Holloway is busy with Yair. So who does that leave after that? Well, you've got 2 great fighters left after that in the top 5. You've got Calvin Kattar and you've got the Korean Zombie. And I think, honestly, either one of those would be good. But on Kattar, you've got another boxer. So you've got another striker. It's the same thing, again, that we've seen for Giga for the past few. And, you know, again, I would love to see that. I love seeing Giga in a stand-up battle. And that's exactly what it would be. We know that. But I would like to see what happens when somebody who's way more well-rounded comes in. That's why I really want to see the Korean Zombie and Giga. That's what I want to see next. And the Zombie doesn't have anything lined up. So I think that would be really good. I would like to see that a lot. And I mean, he just came off a loss to somebody in the top 5, so it makes sense. That's usually what they do. If you lose to somebody in the top 5, you go fight somebody in like, 6 through 10 or 6 through 15, something like that. So I think that would be perfect. Zombie, Giga Chikadze. That's what I want to see. And sadly for Barboza, he's in a weird spot because he's beat the ranked people below him, but he obviously can't fight up. I mean, he just lost. So what do you do with that? Either you fight a couple unranked fighters, then you come back in, and then, you fight better people again. And that's definitely an option. Or there's actually one person that he hasn't fought that's ranked below him, and that is Bryce Mitchell. And that would actually be kind of cool. I would like to see that. So I think that's a good one for both of them next. Barboza and Mitchell, because Mitchell just got in the top 15. That would be quite a test. And Barboza kind of needs to fight down. So I think that would be good. Yeah, so overall on the night, got a lot of winners wrong, I will admit this time. But I was right about one thing. This was a crazy night of finishes. I mean, how many finishes was that? We got the main. We've got the co-main with Battle. We've got the decision there. The finish for Petrosky. We got the KO in the prelim. And then there was another, I think there might have even been 2 more KOs in the prelims. I know there was one for sure, because I didn't get to see it because they weren't covering it in Canada. But I heard that somebody got their arm or leg broken. I mean, they didn't break it, I guess, because they were okay after. But yeah, another KO. So what's that? 5, 6 finishes in one night? Whew, amazing. Before we take a break and before we talk about the upcoming week, I do want to specially mention one other thing. Of course, because I'm a Woodley fan, I do want to quickly talk about the Paul and Woodley boxing match. I wouldn't normally bring it up, but again, I love Woodley so much, so I do want to quickly bring it up here. I don't have too much to say about it, other than, as a Woodley fan, I am traumatized. Losing to Burns and Colby is one thing. I mean, Burns is way up there. Colby, even though I don't like him, he is arguably pretty good. I mean, he hasn't beat anybody in the top 15 now, just saying. But he is still up there. So losing to them, it's depressing, but it makes sense. Luque, honestly, that was bad. That was bad. But this one, though, this one hurt. I mean, come on. And he had him too. I mean, he knocked him through the ropes. All he had to do was jump in and finish him. And I know people on Twitter like to roast him and call him the frozen one. I don't like that because I like him too much. I would never say that. But I mean, yeah, they do have a point. All he had to do was just jump in. We've seen all the clips on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever. I mean, just jump in and do it. And we saw that in the last round too. In the last round, he did what he used to do. He was confident. He kept moving forward, and he got some really good hits in. And guess what? The whole time, well, at least as a viewer, we knew Jake Paul, there's no way that he's knocking Woodley out. There is absolutely no way. And for some reason, it took Woodley 7 rounds to figure that out, because he got hit quite a few times and there wasn't even really much of a reaction. He would be like, oh, okay, I got hit, whatever. But he hit him with all he had, and he didn't wobble, didn't do anything. So to me, and to any fight fan, that means that's the green light to move forward. You can move forward, walk in, throw some heat in. And it's like I said, that's what he did in the 8th round. All he had to do was do that some of the other rounds, and we'd be looking at a completely different story. We would be looking at Woodley winning, maybe even getting a KO. the Jake Paul memes, lied out flat on the ground. I mean, come on. And listen, I hate Jake Paul. I really do. But I'll admit, I do want to see the rematch. I know a lot of people think it's stupid and they don't want to see it. But I do, because I know that now that Tyron knows that he can win easily, and now that he's been in a boxing ring for one fight, I know he can win. I just want to see him knock Paul out. Please, 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 somebody knock him out. If it's not Woodley, if he doesn't get the rematch, which would be garbage because it seems like he is getting that tattoo. So if you don't get the rematch, that's bullshit. But that's beside the point. Whoever fights Paul next, please, please, somebody finish this man. Oh my God. And with that, we'll take a quick 45-second, minute-long break, and then we'll come back to talk about this week's fights. I will see you in a minute.
Allow me to introduce High Stick Vodka, a new way to celebrate victory. Gather around the glass with an award-winning, ultra-premium Canadian-made vodka. You probably won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka has a smooth, hard-hitting taste, or that it's developed in the birthplace of hockey. You won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka is a tribute to the game of hockey, or when I tell you it's distilled 4 times using Canada's purest mountain spring water to provide an authentic, remarkable flavor. But maybe you will listen when I say it comes in a f***ing hockey stick. Showcase your passion for hockey with our limited edition hand-blown hockey stick bottle. Whether you're celebrating victory or drinking to defeat, High Stick Vodka is better after every shot. Visit us at highstickvodka.com. It also comes in this regular bottle. Celebrate victory. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back. So now we're going to be talking about this upcoming week's fights. So first off, we're going to go with the main card, of course. And we've got Paddy Pimblett and Luigi Vendramini. And I've been hearing a lot about Paddy Pimblett for the past couple months on Twitter. They're all saying about how amazing he is and how entertaining he is. So I'm going to say if there's this much hype around him, I'm going to pick him. There's got to be a reason. And I even looked up his record. It looks pretty good. I mean, obviously, I don't know anybody in the, I think it's the something cage something. I don't know, promotion, that one in the UK. So I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett on this one. I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett by decision. Maybe even get a sub. Maybe he's just as good as the hype would suggest. And if we look at the odds, which are on Bet99, which I will throw up right here on the ticker there. Let's see. Paddy Pimblett. They've got Paddy Pimblett at minus 143 and Vendramini at plus 116. So they're seeing it leaning a little bit towards Pimblett. That's obviously, again, probably because of all the hype. But you've got to take that into consideration. Yeah, so that's the first one. I like that. I'm excited. I mean, I hear so much, not about just his skill, but also his personality. Apparently, he's hilarious. I can't wait to see this guy. I really can't. After that, we've got Modestas Bukauskas versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. They both lost their last 2. So, I mean, honestly, when you got that kind of situation, it's a really close call. I'm going to go this time with the extra height and the extra reach on this one, and also with what the odds are saying. I'm going to go Bukauskas with decision. And if you look at Bet99 for the odds, we've got Bukauskas at minus 155 and Roundtree at plus 125. So yeah, they're definitely leaning fairly hard that way. And I kind of remember watching these two and they were okay. Nothing crazy. So again, I think this is going to be, it's going to be close. I don't know. Again, when you got 2 people on a losing streak like this, on a two fight winning streak for both of them, it really could go either way. There's no way to really tell. After that, we've got Alex Morono and David Zawada. Morono last time beat Cowboy Cerrone. But then before that, he lost in the decision to Anthony Pettis. And Anthony Pettis is pretty good. So, and if you beat Cowboy, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was a finish too. That's saying something. I mean, sure, Cowboy's older, whatever. I love Cowboy, but he's getting older. He's getting easier to finish. So maybe it's not that crazy, but still, that's something. And last time, Zawada actually lost by KO to somebody last time out. So I mean, you're comparing somebody that just KO'd the Cowboy and somebody who just lost by a KO in their last fight. To me, that's a pretty easy one. I'm picking Morono, and I'm actually going to say he's probably getting a finish here. And they're actually, if you look at the odds again, you can check the ticker there. You can get a bonus too if you sign up. For Bet99, they've got the odds at -140 for Morono and +114 for Zawada. So they're actually seeing that fairly close, which I think is interesting. Because honestly, I don't even really remember Zawada fighting. He didn't, I mean, obviously, I saw him get KO'd. So, I mean, he didn't look that great. And I remember Morono. Morono looked amazing. And I mean, he KO'd Cowboy. So, I don't know. I thought the odds would have been a little bit one-sided. And honestly, if you've got that situation in there, only -140, you might want to throw some money into that. That's all I'm saying. You might want to throw some money in there this time. And I mean, that's what we're doing here anyway. So it's not that crazy for me to say that. I mean, we're making picks here. But yeah, that is a good deal. I would actually say that's probably the best deal of the night right there. And then the next one, we've got the co-main. We've got Tom Aspinall and Sergey Spivak. Spivak, I don't know, has looked really good recently, but nothing crazy. He beat Olenek in his last decision, in his last fight by a decision, and he got a KO before that. And I remember watching that Olenek one, and I mean, Olenek is good, but he is very, very old. He is the most experienced fighter I have ever seen by far. So, I mean, if you beat him by decision, that's good, because I think Olenek was actually ranked at that point. Yeah, I think he was. But it's nothing crazy. If he would have finished Olenek, then I would be like, oh, I might, Spivak has a pretty good chance here. But I'm not sure about that. And on the other side, we've got Aspinall, and he hasn't lost in the UFC yet. In fact, he has finished every single opponent in the UFC that he's fought in the UFC so far. So I think the easy pick here is Aspinall, and I'm going to go with the finish because I haven't really been impressed by Spivak. And of course, because he's finished everybody he's fought in the UFC so far. So why not continue that trend? And if you look at the odds on Bet99, we've got Aspinall at -260 and Spivak at +210. So, yeah, they're definitely leaning that way too. Totally understandable. I would definitely lean that way too. And that is my pick for that one. Excuse me. After that, we've got the main event, Derek Brunson and Darren Till. Now, Brunson on the last one won a very boring decision to Kevin Holland. But before that, he did KO Edmund Shabazian, which is something. Shabazian was, at that point, I think he was undefeated, or he was at least for sure undefeated in the UFC. So he was looking really good, and Brunson KO'd him at that point. And I mean, Holland is good, but a decision, I don't know. And on the Till side, he hasn't been hugely active, but in the last two, he took Whitaker to a decision and Gastelum to a decision. And that is definitely something again. I mean, like, we've said that twice last week. It was Gastelum who took Whitaker to a decision. Cannonier took Whitaker to a decision. Now Till took Whitaker to a decision. I mean, that should tell you enough at how good Till can be. And I watched that fight. I believe that was on Fight Island, I think. And it was very close. My mom thought it was very boring because there was a lot of waiting out and like, ooh, fainting and all that. But honestly, when you see that, that means that they respect each other and they're really feeling each other out. So if Whitaker respects Till that much and he got the decision, or well, he lost by decision, but he got to a decision in that one. I'm saying that Till definitely has the edge here. And I'm saying he's probably just going to go to a decision. I can't see Till finishing Brunson. I just can't see that. So I'm definitely leaning towards the decision for Till. And if you look at the odds, again, on Bet99, they are Brunson at plus 145 and Darren Till at minus 180. So they're leaning that way too. But I could maybe see Brunson... I'm not saying it's impossible. Brunson can definitely get into this. So at plus 180, plus 145, if you're leaning Brunson, that's actually not a bad deal. I would still lean toward Till. But if you're feeling it, if you're feeling lucky, if you're feeling Brunson, you might want to lean that way. Plus 145, those are good odds. And as always, I've got a prelim that I want to talk about before we go away. Also, if you want to leave any comments about your picks, I would love to hear them. We can talk about them, chat about them, leave them in the comments. As always, you can do that all stream long. I am here. And I'll even reply on Twitter or YouTube or Twitch. I am always here to reply. Anyway, so on the prelim side, I've got one that I want to talk about, because we're in the Great White North. We're talking about a Canadian here. And not only that, he's an exciting Canadian, which honestly, pretty hard to find lately. Honestly, any Canadian fighter in general is pretty hard to find lately. But we've got Julian Erosa versus Charles Air Jourdain. I could do a much better French accent, but I'll stick to doing that. And Jourdain has had a bit of a rough start so far in the UFC, but I've seen all of his fights in the UFC so far, and he's looked really good, especially his last one. And Erosa, on the other side, has gotten 2 pretty convincing wins recently, but he's also been cut from the UFC twice. So you kind of want to take that into consideration. I feel bad for saying that, because you always want to give people the benefit of the doubt because they're back in the UFC and he won twice. But you always have that in the back of your mind. But before I say my pick, I will say that Jourdain, even though he's had a bit of a rough start, if you look at the people he's been fighting a much higher caliber of opponent than Erosa has. So although I believe Jourdain is at 1-2-1, I think. So that doesn't sound impressive, but considering the people that he's been fighting, that's actually pretty impressive. And Erosa hasn't really fought anybody that's remotely impressive at all. So I'm going to take that into consideration, and I'm going to say that we'll probably see a decision here. And I'm leaning towards Jourdain. I'm saying he's probably getting a decision, but I could very much see him getting a finish because in all of his wins so far, he's always gotten a finish. So that's definitely something to consider, especially if you're going to bet on this one. And again, moving back to Bet99, we've got the odds, and they've got Erosa plus 154 and Jourdain at minus 193. So they're really leaning that way. And I think, like I said, I think that all comes down to who he's been fighting and how good he's looked in the past couple fights. So yes, Erosa has 2 finishes in his last fights, but if you look at who Jourdain is fighting, much higher caliber. It's a lot harder to beat those people, obviously. So I'm definitely leaning that way. Bet99 is clearly leaning that way. Jourdain by decision, possibly by finish. You might want to throw some money on the finish just because he's always had a finish. And that's the same with Aspinall, like I said. And that is it for the card. Like I said, if you want to tell me your picks, leave them in the comments, tweet at me, do anything. I don't know. Send me a message. I'll respond every time. That is it for this time. If you want to follow me on Twitter, all my socials are linked below. Hold on. All my socials are linked below. My Twitter is BLBeard2. My Insta is BlueBeard427. The YouTube for this is BLÜ-FC, and the Twitch for this is BlueBeardFC. They are all linked below. And if you want to hear about any of the other sports, all of the other sports, Area 51 has other channels dedicated to all of them. They're on the hat. I actually really do like this hat. You can check out them too. You can head over to the website. I had linked it below for the betting thing. That's where all the channels are found. You can also find them on their Twitter. Yeah. See you next week. I hope this is a good one. I'm excited. Now I don't know. Oh, there we go. I'm excited. See you next time.